My essential question is, what kind of content is most relevant in our media platforms, and how do we react to it as a community? I know my essential question seems pretty irrelevant to the class, but bear with me as it will make sense eventually. Let's start with something recent. I'm sure by now you've all heard of the Santa Fe, Texas school shooting, one of many that have occurred already in 2018. Last week, 10 students and teachers were killed, and many more were injured. As a society, we've become so used to these acts of aggression that we're basically desensitized. I'm not going to try to argue about stricter gun laws or armed security at schools or anything like that. I'm going to try to examine our reaction as a community to these kinds of events. Seemingly unrelated to the school shooting, another recent event is the 2018 British royal wedding between Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Now, why would I, an American, be bringing up a wedding between people from a completely different country? Because American news coverage the past few days has been more focused on this wedding and the joining of two people's lives than the loss of many more during the Texas shooting. And guess what? Americans are eating it up. It seems as a country that we've already all but forgotten about the victims of Santa Fe shooting and moved on to more important things. To us, the daily lives of complete strangers are more important than mass murder. Why are we like this? Why do we choose to ignore the victims? I believe that we choose to ignore these types of tragedies because they don't directly affect us. We don't live in Santa Fe. Our classmates weren't murdered right in front of us. It's easy for us to forget about them because we like to surround ourselves with the positive. We don't want to admit how selfish we really are, so we ignore the issue altogether. What does Scripture say about turning our backs on the suffering? According to John 3:17-18, if anyone has material possessions and sees a brother or sister in need, but has no pity on them, how can the love of God be in that person? Dear children, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth. Let's face it, most people ignore this divine calling. In fact, most people in this room are going to watch this presentation and leave the room and forget about it by the end of today. Most people have more important things to do with their lives. We live in a bubble, and no amount of thoughts and prayers is going to change that. Let's look at some examples from this semester. During the Rwandan genocide, more than 500,000 innocent Rwandans were killed. And what did American representatives have to say about the issue? Let's take a look.
We have every reason to believe that acts of genocide have occurred.
How many acts of genocide does it take to make genocide?
Alan, that's just not a question that I'm in a position to answer.
True that you have specific guidance not to use the word genocide in isolation, but always to preface it with this word acts of.
I have guidance which I try to use as best as I can. I'm not. I have. There are formulations that we are using that we are trying to be consistent in our use of. I don't have an absolute.
Another example is the This Is America music video by Childish Gambino.
Get down!
We went through it as a class and discussed the video and its implications. It's amazing that an influential artist like Childish Gambino put in this much effort to raise awareness about the issues in our country. But honestly, it doesn't extend far beyond that. Most people just watch the video because they like Childish Gambino, or he's popular, and they might get some education or awareness from the video, but they never act on it. We think of the video as iconic and progressive, but I highly doubt this video has inspired any of us in this room to change. All of these examples beg the question, what do we really value as important in our society? Like I said before, I know many of you will not pay much attention to this video, which only proves my point. However, all it takes is one person who is really dedicated and willing to change their thoughts and prayers into action, real action, and inspire others. We are all at fault for buying into our privileged lifestyle, and the only way this is going to change is if we change the roots of our thinking. Thank you.